Peace to the family. Shout out you. Shout out your mama and them. How your cousins and them, bam. Your daddy, I ain't seen your daddy in a while. How you been? So, happy birthday to my son, 7. His birthday is today, so gonna love up on him, see what's good with him. But before he wakes up, I'm about to do this new moon video, and I'm gonna do this new moon video on IG instead of YouTube because my laptop got a projectile thrown at it by John. Bruh really threw his police car at my laptop screen, cracked it. So now my laptop is in the shop getting fixed. And so that, whether I have a computer, whether I'm on IG, whether I'm on YouTube, whether I'm on Facebook, whether I'm talking to the trees, y'all is definitely going to get this new moon energy. So let's talk about it. A lot of people will say that the new moon is in Cancer, but they're not looking up at the sky. They're looking at their computer screens. And in order to deal with astrology, you have to look up at the sky. Never once can we look at our computer screens and trust that you're being told the truth. So you got to also look at your experience to be told the truth. And then your experience and the work that you do allows you to see the world much differently. Right? So this is why the new moon in Gemini is a very personal moon. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and just say Aries, Taurus, and Gemini are personal times where you working on self, getting self together. Cancer is the start of the family, your soul family, physical family, however it looks. If you are in this particular place where you're worried about your partnership, your relationship, your love, but you're not really tuned into yourself, you're going to be struggling. But if you are tuned into yourself, building a relationship with yourself, then you're able to see the world much differently. So in understanding this, new moon is all about how you see the world. And I'm going to explain a lot on why, but then you got to also understand that when you are tapped in and tuned into your soul, it's going to change things about you, mainly about how you see the world. And ultimately, you got to be real patient with your friends, family, everybody else, because maybe they don't see what you see. And the reason why they don't see what you see is because they're not doing the sincere work on themselves, the inner work, and really taking the time to see what exactly it is that your soul wants for you. And sometimes your soul say, look, we got to work out. Hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to do that. We got to go back to school. You got to call your mama, tell her you're sorry. All of these particular things, and that the ego doesn't particularly want to do that. So a new moon in Gemini is a very simple understanding. It's tapped into what you see and also chaos. Now on YouTube, I put out a good video on how to use chaos to your advantage. So I'm not going to go into chaos, but what I would say is if you don't want to watch that video, you may not watch that video. The simplest way that I can understand it is that chaos is just a forward moving process that never looks back. So if it knock a plate over, it ain't going to sweep the plate up and throw the plate away. If it knock a dish over, it's not going to put the dish up and put it in a dishwasher. If it smack somebody, it's just going to smack somebody. More or less, it is your unapologetic self, which is your chaotic self. But ultimately, you have to understand yourself. Will you ruffle feathers by staying in your truth? Absolutely. But this is the work. This is why we work on ourselves, so we don't absorb people's negativity. This is what chaos is. So people might say that person is chaotic. meaning that they didn't come back and say, oh, I'm sorry for making you sad, right? And it's like, look, we can be our true selves and live our best lives, but we cannot make everybody happy, right? In the process. So when referencing the times in your life where you made people sad or you just did not understand your chaotic energy, you then have to understand that it's your happiness and everybody else's. You're going to have to be real patient with them. You have to be real understanding with them, or else you don't awaken yourself, or else you don't enlighten yourself. And if you anything like me, you too far gone to turn back around to then be like, all right, mama, I'll go to church with you and try to get some understanding. And if you do go to church, it's more or less on just some regular shit, but at the same time, you're not about to be like, all right, I'm about to join the church. That part of your life is done. So let's start this thing off with the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and the fifth dimension in real time. Around 2016, there was a video game that came out called Pokemon Go. And Pokemon Go was a game where people lost their damn minds. And the reason that they lost their minds is because you had the physical world, right? And then you had this imaginary, right? Imagination. Keep that in mind as we talk about our new moon intentions and rituals. The imaginary world with these Pokemon characters, and you had to capture these Pokemon characters, right? And it was crazy because me and my wife, when we first met, it was 2016. That's how I know when the shit came out, because we would be at the park with the kids or just chilling, and people would be just running around us, and it was almost unsafe because you felt like, damn, if I step on this person Pokemon, they might beat my ass or some shit like that. It was really, really weird, right? But when you do the gematria of Pokemon Go, it's 666. So I bring this up because it's just an analogy how this person to the left of me can be seeing a whole world of Pokemons, right? And I'm just at the park catching a vibe with my wife. So when you really tap into the world that you see, is a very unique perspective, right? When you take a shower, when you eat your food, when you're in your dream world, of course, we share this world together, but we do not share the perspective, okay? We do not share the same perspective. Yes, we share the world, but we do not share the same perspective, because you might be in a space of attaining nirvana and bliss, inner harmony, and the next person next to you trying to catch a motherfucking Pikachu. So no, we are not the same, okay? This is the one thing that we need to understand as melanated energies, is that what we see in the world is a lot based upon a program, which I'll try to explain in these few slides. And getting out of the program is the absolute work, because once you get into a process of understanding your personal divinity, your personal understanding, you're going to be a lot different than your friends and family. And I don't know. I don't know why that is. But mainly, I think it's the amygdala. This is my theory, right? When you do spiritual work, like meditation, exercise, walking into nature, or just walking around the block, just in your regular homeostasis, following your spirit, right? When you follow your spirit, you follow your soul, that's a sense of calm. That's a sense of relaxation. That's more or less of a vibe, right? But then if the vibe, you like, all right, let's watch a movie, or let's talk about this, or I want to have a conversation, I want to expand my mind. Now, what doesn't happen if you in an argument with your baby dad or your baby mom, right? And you like, you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit, your mom ain't shit, right? And then try to transpose into, let's talk about the chakras. Man, fuck the chakras. Fuck your chakras, right? You don't care, right? Because your filter is small. Like, you ever been into a fight or some shit like that? And then like the next day you talking to your homeboy or your homegirl and they give you all of the details, all the background, and Shaniqua ass was hating in the background and she was looking at you the whole time, da 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 da, and you like, well shit, I ain't see none of that. Because you was in the realms of tunnel vision. Your amygdala got shrunk, right? So when you talk about melanated people that's growing up in this world, it's always fight or flight. Like a little girl might feel like, damn, I gotta go to school, right? Fuck, right? I do not want to go to school. She probably loves school, but from her house to the bus stop and then at the bus stop on the bus, right? It's just hell, right? Because there ain't nobody there to watch over her. So every single day, her amygdala shrinks, right? No matter what she looked like, it ain't about what she looked like. It ain't nothing. But when she was 7, right, she had a period of time where her amygdala was shrinking. The amygdala is the ability where like it's external, real live trauma coming at you. And then on another side, you might not have trauma, but you might have the inner talk where you just going in on yourself. You ain't shit. You ain't gonna never be shit. People have suicidal thoughts, right? But they don't never. For a majority of people who have suicidal thoughts, they don't act on it. Why they don't act on it if they have it? Because of the amygdala. The amygdala is like, I hear what you're saying, sis, and I know you probably want to end it, but relax. Go to sleep, right? Or take a walk, or whatever the process is. Or it won't even show you the negative thing that is happening because it knows for a fact that you can't take it. This is an amazing part of our human brain, right? That is going on in our life, right? That is filtering experiences. And if it sound crazy, if it sound too scientific, go to your mama and start talking to her about chakras, or start talking to her about astrology. She ain't trying to hear nothing except Jesus, fam. Right? Try it. And you might say, well, damn, why do it make so much sense to me, but it don't make sense to mama? Because she probably has, through a lifetime of fear, a lifetime of stress, has shrunken that amygdala or calcified that amygdala to where she only wants to hear that which she has been programmed to hear. So I'm going to read real quick. I apologize for my 3rd grade reading level, but just to keep us all on track so we can understand this in the realms of our body and then Gemini. So when calm, the filter is wide open and information flows to the prefrontal cortex, the learning, the reasoning, and thinking center. The prefrontal cortex controls our decision making, focuses our attention, and allows us to learn, read, write, compute, analyze, predict, comprehend, and interpret. Now, when it is calm, right, it will send information to the prefrontal cortex, so then a person can begin to process some information, right? But if it doesn't reach the prefrontal cortex, you don't have the ability to do none of this. So it will almost be like you're talking to a drone or a brick wall. Just tune you the fuck out and will have you feeling all types of crazy. See, I'm knee deep into this shit. So at this particular point, I only set up shop and I say I do readings, and a person had to sit down and talk to me. I'm not going to be handing out my card. Hey, I do readings. Hey, I'll do this. I'll do this. I do this. I'm not pretentious when it comes to who I am as a spiritual being, because I realized that I didn't know about the amygdala, but I did realize that people were brick walls if they weren't ready for that particular information. And everything that I say is a space where people are just generally not ready for it. And to keep myself safe, to keep myself happy, I'm just not trying to promote who I am as a spiritual being at all times, more than I'm just trying to experience life in its fullness and in its full enjoyment. But most of the time I'm calm, right? This is why I'm more apt to learn. I'm more open to learn. I'm more open to do the things that I need to do to advance myself because my mind is open. I have an open mind. But you cannot have an open mind and have stress, okay? And this is really the crux of the new moon and getting you to a point where you can understand this new moon energy and go into this new moon. This is why today is Thursday. The new moon takes place Saturday. So, and to prepare for Saturday, no matter what, I'm not giving you no details, intricate rituals and things like that, what to do for the new moon, other than be sure to be calm and relax and don't be in the fight or flight. If a person is making you feel that way, I don't care if it's your husband or your wife, get a hotel room for Saturday, right? Do not engage in fear porn because it doesn't affect anybody but your body. And when your body is shut down like this, you're not able to think. So if a majority of people are stressed, that means a majority of people are not thinking. So if we were to zoom out on the world and look at, like, just look down on the world and see what people are doing, it would be like, okay, why are they doing that? They're literally not thinking. And it's like, they're zombies, but they're not losing skin and things like that and going, and trying to kill you. But you could ultimately say that the reason for the world and the people of the world is because they're stressed out. Everybody you know is stressed out over something. Well, when you're stressed, your amygdala and your body begins to produce hormones. The main hormone that your body produces is cortisol. The secondary hormone is adrenaline. These are fight or flight techniques that produces the tunnel vision. Okay? So it's like, damn, Sherelle, where your ass been at? I just been going to work and coming home, just been doing my thing, ain't been doing shit, really. Just been in a form of tunnel vision because whatever Sherelle happened to create that tunnel vision was traumatic. And she didn't want to go through that again. So her amygdala said, girl, I got you. I'm going to just make sure that we going to get to work. Oh, shit, COVID happened. So now we don't even got to leave, sis. We can get shipped. We can get our food sent to us. Right? We get our check direct deposit. Our job is on this computer screen. So, sis, I got you. You don't got to do anything, right? Everything is curbside. Everything is no contact. Everything is wear your mask. And so I'm saying, if you were very afraid of the environment, society would support that. But then if you understand what's happening in the mind, outside of the door is a scary place. So just the mere thought of opening the door, going outside, shrinks the amygdala. And then because you're afraid of what could possibly happen if you just walk outside of your door and go to the grocery store, that thought is too much for you to bear. And I know for a lot of people, they're like, that ain't me, hood. But generally, we're talking about the world. And why, when you're out in the world and people are weird or people are zombified or you're having this wonderful experience of activating your chakras, doing the shadow work, seeing the world completely different, while your best friend will not, unless she's doing the work too, or he's doing the work too. So the release of adrenaline, the release of cortisol, essentially has us in a perpetual state of tunnel vision, where we can only see, we're not thinking, we're not learning, right? We're not assessing any type of information. We're just going in tunnel vision. And if that's for you, that's for you. But ultimately, you generally, especially like if you're in the consciousness, You're not with the tunnel vision. You're with the ever expansiveness of the soul. You're with having some mastery over your destiny. You're trying to step outside of fate because fate is a life that's planned for you. And you're trying to step into destiny. You're trying to plan your life for yourself. And this has to have to do with your body. Because if you're eating weak and you're relating weak, meaning that you're relating to a person that wants to control you, and then we're referencing new moon energy, setting intentions and rituals. But soon as your baby dad say, I don't think you should be doing that, you stop doing that. Soon as your baby mama say, well, I'm threatened by that situation, then you stop doing it. So what's the point of listening to spiritual information when the human being that's in your life that's not doing the same work as you, telling you what they think when they're really not even thinking? They're zombified, fear, amygdala shrunken individuals who are producing cortisol and adrenaline ad nauseum, and then everything is based upon what could possibly happen if you walk outside the door. When the reality is that maybe a piano might fall on your head, maybe not. But ultimately, I guess you just have to decide on that, because you could live in a life where, a piano might fall on you, so you got to stay in the house. So really quick, let's read your favorite part of the experience in reference to the amygdala, as then we'll tie back into the astrology. But in reference to my astrology, is no way that I'm going to talk about astrology and not relate it to the body and understanding the body. The reason that I talk about chakras from astrology is because that's where astrology led me to. A sincere understanding of astrology led me to my body. Because there's no way that I'm going to think about astrology looking in the sky, understanding my personality traits, when my personality traits are different. To say like a Virgo is hardworking or some shit like that. Man, I'm lazy as shit most of the time. I'm a majority lazy. Oh, Virgo's like everything clean. Where? I'm the messiest nigga in the world. Like, no traits of Virgo really relate to me. So, in the personality sense, right? But sidereal astrology, in reference to assigning astrology to the body and then understanding how my body operates through stress, not even stress, but how it responds to stress, putting a mind to it, doing the work. Listen, my son threw a whole police car projectile into my new laptop. When I say I caught feelings for this laptop, I was thinking that me, my laptop, and my wife was in a polygamous relationship. I'm not lying to y'all. But my son in the back seat, I could hear him cock back. You know how that stretchy sound? I don't know if y'all seen Rookie of the Year, but he's cocked that thing back and threw that projectile. Whew, I heard it, seen it, and then it hit my screen at an angle where it just was at a point, and it just cracked. And I just didn't care. I wasn't even mad at him. It was almost as if it didn't happen. I just closed it. I said, John, calm down. Just regular shit. Regular dad shit. Would have never even knew that my computer screen cracked, or that I love my computer as much as it do. It's a dope ass computer. It's fast. It got a touch screen. I ain't never had no shit this nice before, but I just said, fuck it. Wasn't nothing I could do besides put it in the shop. So that's what I did. I wasn't mad about it. Wasn't mad at my kid, didn't yell at him, didn't give him the traumatic memory over doing something that he too. I don't know nothing of what I did when I was 2. Meaning that he completely at the level where he just free to throw police cars at daddy's screen with no consequences. And if another person be like, no, you should have beat his ass for that. I'm like, this is why your amygdala is shrunken. Because every time you in your natural state of being, somebody was there to beat it out of you. Now you're a fucking adult. And now you're trying to figure out, well, how do I live my happy life? Because say, for instance, this is real easy, right? they could give you this damn squirrel smashing this goddamn French fry, y'all. Goodness gracious. I ain't never seen no squirrel eat no damn fry like that. But let me read this real quick. Contemporary theories of emotion converge around the key role of the amygdala as the central subcortical emotional brain structure that constantly evaluates and integrates a variety of sensory information from the surroundings and the inner-roundings. The inner-roundings, hello, you got your surroundings and your inner-roundings. I just added that. If you're wondering why you don't see that, it's because I added that. So, variety of sensory information from the surroundings and in-surroundings, and assigns them appropriate values of emotional dimensions such as valence, intensity, and approachability. So, you might feel like it's okay to walk outside and go to the store and get you some neck bones, some chicken wings, and some soda for dinner. Your friend might not feel like that because it's much more intense to walk outside. It's probably unapproachable to walk outside. They need to order their food on Shipt or DoorDash, or they probably won't eat. So and that's just their mind. The amygdala participates in the regulation of autonomic and endocrine functions, decision-making, and adaptations of instinctive motivational behaviors to changes in the environment through implicit associative learning, changes in, told y'all, third grade, changes in short or long-term synaptic plasticity and activation of the fight or flight responses via different projections from its central nucleus to cortical and subcortical. I give up. Can't see that last word. But in reference to the plasticity, as much as you stay in the realm of calm, the much as you stay in understanding that there's a big world around you and you can see more of it if you want to see more of it, or you will block yourself out of it. Damn, and I had one more picture. So, real quick, dealing with the world in reference to the amygdala and how it looks. On your screen right now, you are looking at a Photoshop layers section. Now, Photoshop is where people make pictures online, like every magazine, right? If you're looking at a picture on a magazine, it's 10 times out of 10 has been processed through Photoshop. And how they process pictures is through multiple layers. And so the world that we live in has multiple layers. The first layer is the physical reality. And this is all from my wife. I want to give her credit on this because I would have never thought of this. So the first layer is the physical reality, right? And then the second level is the spiritual. The third level is the soul and the Ein Sof ore and all of that, like just the deeper levels of spirituality. What most spiritual people do, or most spiritual people, they just look at just the first layer past and not even realize that it is another layer. Like, a lot of people can't separate the physical from the spiritual. They just have a cognizance of it. And they also know that most people don't have a cognizance of it. They won't never have it. And since they don't know, they can't specifically teach the people who watching their videos or absorbing their content. So all they can do is grow their platform. So if you think about growing your platform as a spiritual person, well, being spiritual means you're going to be honest. And most people don't want to think. And honesty requires them to think. So quite naturally, you could grow, but you could also have some stagnancy when it comes to people when you're in your honesty space. People love you off rip. They tend to stop loving you once you start being honest with them. And that's just my experience. But in reference to the world, in reference to like teaching people, is really not the goal. The goal. So I say all of that to say that your reality is begging you to engage with it. But you won't see the beggingness by just looking at this reality at face value. It requires deeper levels of understanding. It requires you to look at the other layers. And if you are able to see the other layers, then you will have a better grip and grasp on your reality. You will not be able to share that, especially if you've been patient with yourself. You can't tell a person, man, I've been doing chakra work for years and I'm finally having my breakthroughs. See, that came from inside of you. It didn't come from motivation or inspiration from another person. That came from inside of you to be patient with yourself as you begin to peel back the layers of reality. Because this first layer of reality is a wash. When you peel back this second layer, this third layer, this fourth layer, oh, now you start seeing the entities doing their work. Everything ain't everything when you're on the fourth and fifth dimension and you seeing how people are getting down. And you seeing, oh, this person is possessed. Oh, this person works for this person. And how do they operate, family? How does a otherworldly dimension operate? Through this damn phone. You don't be knowing these people. These people do not, you don't know if they got family. And not to say that family is anything, but I'm saying if a person just gonna get up and just be like, spiritual miracle, spew, 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 spiritual miracle, spew, 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 love and light, blah, blah, blah. You need protection, blah, blah, blah. That's not the reality of the scientific study of occultism that has been taking place for millennia up until this point. We are a secret brotherhood of spiritual beings who have reincarnated in multiple lifetimes with the understanding that we have to do spiritual work over the physical work. Meaning that whether we a plumber, whether we a basketball player, is not going to matter. The most important part of our lives is when we are sleeping, or when we are expanding and coming to a point of knowing self, so we could peel back all of the layers of physical reality and get into our soul mission. And our soul mission is taking place whether we know it or not. So what does one need to do to become in alignment with their soul mission? Unify themselves with them souls. How do you unify yourself with your soul? By having a state of calm. Why have I been talking about everything that I've been talking about up until now? Your fight or flight is running your life. You're not able to see the world in a clear, observable way because the first layer, which is a painting, and that painting is just drawing niggas with knives, niggas with guns, and things of that nature. And of course, there are real live threats. But what are we going to do about it? Are you going to see past those threats and get to the core of those threats? Maybe you need to move to another state. Maybe you need to move to a different neighborhood. And maybe that will require you to save your money. Maybe that will require you to invest. Maybe that will require you to partner up with your girlfriend and say, look, how much you paying for rent? This is what I'm paying for rent. Imagine if we cut that in half, move to a better neighborhood, a bigger house. Now our kids can go to a better school. We can live in a better neighborhood instead of us complaining about this fucking hood. We sit on the phone every day and complain about our neighborhood. Girl, let's partner up and just move. These are the different layers of calm and relaxation and prefrontal cortex work that will open you up to then say, okay, I'm about to start studying how I could get housing in this state, how I can get this in this country. What do I need to get my passports? Now, if you arguing with your baby dad, arguing with Terrell's ass, you're not going to be doing the shit of what you need to do in reference to doing your passport work. You just going to be arguing with him, talking about, I can't stand this nigga. And you going to go to sleep and wake up and you waiting to see what he going to text you back because you sent him a paragraph before you went to sleep. And now when you wake up, the first thing you do, pick up your phone, see what he reply and say. You ain't thinking about your destiny. You ain't thinking about the mastery of destiny. You're not thinking about your amygdala. You're not thinking about your connection. You're not thinking about bonding with your soul. You're thinking about this relationship that's creating more fight or flight, that's producing more adrenaline, that's producing more cortisol, because in your mind, when you reference this dude or you reference this woman, the energy is now taking place. Like, I can't stand her. I wish she'd be like this. I wish she'd stop doing this. I wish she'd stop doing that. You're living that. When I say you're living that, your body is producing the adrenaline. Your body is producing the cortisol. And the craziest part about it, Jermel's ass ain't even here. Jermel's ass is running the streets because Jermel's ass is for everybody, being for everybody. You just got to turn like a goddamn doorknob. That's not your doorknob. He's everybody's doorknob, but I digress. Whew. Real quick so I can get home and celebrate the birthday of my beautiful son, 7. Feel like people should be waking up around now, probably about 9, so I'm gonna go for a little bit. So we're dealing with Gemini. We're dealing with specifically the second deacon of Gemini in the area of the 9 of Swords, and then the third deacon of Gemini, the area of the 10 of Swords. This card is called Cruelty. Now, you may have met a cruel person in life that was very mean to you. And this card could be about that particular person. But the majority of people are cruel to themselves. Cruel to themselves because they refuse to connect with themselves in an intimate and loving way. And intimacy and loving is very early in the morning. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the Venusian aspect of love. So what is the Venusian aspect of love? It's literally 5 o'clock in the morning when Venus is the sun of the sky. Because if you were to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go outside and look into the east, you would see Venus in the sky. But you wouldn't see people playing Pokemon Go. You wouldn't see cars riding up and down the street, right? You wouldn't see many people walking. It's very quiet time. Because the whole universe knows that this is the intimate time where it's time to bond with your soul. So if you look at the 9 of Swords in the Rider Tarot deck, the card that's positioned on the right, this person is not walking or sitting on the couch or, at the playground with their hand in their heads. They're specifically sitting in the bed. Because the dream world and then also your thought space is an opportunity to really bond and love self. But if you do not establish that connection, you will try to establish it with somebody else and it'll never work. I don't care if you married, in a relationship, you can front for the gram, but the work of relationships is not me building with my wife. It is my wife building with herself, and it is me building with myself. Because no matter how much attention that I put onto her, that it couldn't be received. If she put all of her attention on me, it might not be received. If she puts the attention on herself, it's always received. If I put the attention on myself, it is always received. So you taking a 50-50 chance over 100% chance, and the sun and Gemini, they brought the goddamn the tree cutters, huh? So the sun conjunct Gemini, the sun and the moon and Gemini, the sun conjunct the moon in Gemini is the overall understanding of, did you bond with yourself versus did you not bond with yourself? And so the creators of the tarot decks, they automatically imagine that people don't bond with themselves. And since if you could automatically assume that a person don't bond with themselves, then the automatic results of that is emotional, mental depression. You could be with the best guy, best girl, best kids, best house, best life, best thing ever. We all know people that are in enviable positions, but the only person that don't appreciate that shit is the person who is experiencing it. Because it does not matter if the whole world loves you, you have to love yourself. And this is a lesson. This is something that you have to learn in your relationships. You might feel like your Instagram pictures just ain't raw enough. That's why the relationship ain't working out. So you just got to work out, get better outfits. And once you get your IG profile up, the relationship will work out. Wrong answer. So let's look at it. 3rd grade reading level. I got to pull it up close. So the 9 of Swords deals with Yesod. Yesod is the sexual organs. Chakra Astrology, August 4th. Nadia Shaw, Hood Mystic, Synchronicity University, Collision Course. So Yesod, our sexual organs, is associated with our instinctual and emotional, subconscious, and their associated reactions. Now, we're still in the same realms of thought. Got to bring us back so we can understand how this connects. The Yesod, or the 9, or your sexual organs, are dealing with your release of adrenal glands, your release of cortisol, your overall psychic activation. Your fight or flight. You might want to be in a relationship, but that's mainly because your fight or flight is not activated. You could be in a relationship with somebody, activate your fight or flight, and then be like, I don't never want to be in a relationship again. That shit was too scary. And the person that I'm in a relationship, I'm not scared of them. I'm scared of myself. Why did I respond like that? Why did I even act like that? I don't even want to behave this way. I don't want to act this way. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be angry. I love this man. I love this woman. I love my life. Well, build the connection with yourself and learn to love yourself. So then you absolutely can begin to love these people, because I'll tell you one thing of what I've learned, and the lesson that I've been taught in this journey is that no matter how much of an abundance of love that I have for people outside of me, if I do not have that love for myself, it does not matter. And if I don't work on my personal fight or flight responses within my relationship, what happens in relationships? You fight with somebody or you leave their ass. You know, people in relationships, they're either fighting or they're breaking up. But we say we love each other. How can we love each other as a community if we do not have the science of loving ourselves as women, as men? It's fucked up. People will talk about the dating market as being a hell space. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. Because I automatically know that you need to find somebody that loves themselves. And that's going to be hard. Because you don't necessarily know if they love themselves until they're triggered. And you can be with somebody for a very, very long time and never know how they talk to themselves. So once again, we're also dealing with nines, and we're also dealing with the loops of the people. People are caught up in their psychic loops, and the reason of this is because the amygdala. Let's look at this one more time. At the codes. Mainly at the Rider-Waite deck. You see the swords and how they're like positioned. They're positioned through the heart and through the head. Meaning that your heart and your mind has to be in some form of balance. And your heart and your mind are imaginary, psychic energies that you have to educate yourself on, that you have to learn so you can step outside of whatever loops that you find yourself in. But then you also have to understand that people who are saying that they're not into this stuff, that them loops is for them. Unless you want to play double dutch, you got to let them have their loops. Because now it's in a point of time where this shit is about you. It's about what you see. You might be an empathic energy. And you starting to realize that, oh shit, I'm absorbing. If you anything like me, you like, shit, I'm absorbing shit. I'm not even in tune with self more than I'm in tune with everybody else's self. And I don't like it. To which you are in tune with self, and you in tune with a lot of shit when you cruel to yourself. If you anything like me, you talking shit to yourself. And you think that it's cool to talk shit to yourself because you don't want to be boastful. You don't want to be arrogant. You don't want to be an ego. But fuck it. You're going to have to boost yourself up in life when nobody else decides to boost you up. So this energetic loop, and we're dealing with the second decan of Gemini energy and sidereal astrology. This energetic loop, in conjunction with the symbolic suit of swords, clues us to the repetitive and cyclical nature of our deeper thoughts. For cruelty, we can have negative thoughts that repeat over and over and do not get resolved. They can come out in the form of emotional and self-harm. In the Rider-Waite card, this can give rise to repetitive bad dreams, thoughts stemming from the subconscious, and this is why Yesod, or the sexual organs, rules this time. So in reference to the new moon, intentions, and rituals, you got to really ask yourself, why do you talk to yourself in a certain type of way? Why are you telling yourself what you deserve and what you don't deserve and what you want and what you need and all of this stuff, and you're not even sure on the world that you see is the correct world? Gemini is in reference to the lovers, in reference to partnerships, in reference to communication, but it's not outwardly. I'll do you one better. If a person just talking to you without introspection versus a person that's talking to you with introspection, who do you want to listen to more? The person just coming up with random shit off the top of their head, don't know what they talking about, they're just communicating. Or a person that don't really communicate outwardly because they communicate inwardly. And if you ask them a question, they're going to think about it real quick. They're not just going to say, hey, or da-da-da-da. They're going to say, wait a minute, let me think about that. If you ask a person a question and they be like, hold on, give me a second, let me think about it, you automatically feel comforted by the thought of them thinking about your question. Versus somebody that just come up with a random fast answer when intuitively, if you thinking about something and you ask somebody something, you want them to think about that shit too. I mean, you want it to go through their filters. You want to think about different variabilities on their Doctor Strange shit to come to a conclusion, if they have one. But so communication, all of these things that's happening in your mind is communication. So your ability to think is your ability to communicate with yourself. But if you're not on good terms with yourself and you don't understand the power of the self, then you're going to rely on other people to inform you on yourself. I've been there, not having a relationship with self, and I'm still building a relationship with self, but I had to go to psychics when I first came into this consciousness. I had to get a reading. I had to. If I didn't get a reading, there's no way that I would have known what I didn't know. Got multiple readings, and every reading I got was from an intuitive space and from a specific endeavor or a specific offering or a specific journey. Because I was in a space of beating myself up. And let me tell you one thing, if you ever get it confused. After I got the reading, did I stop beating myself up? No. So I got a reading from Rose. Perfect, dead on spot reading. Owani Tarot. Just Instagram Owani. She is the best tarot reader on the world. With 2 feet walking on earth, she is the best tarot reader ever. Period. Owani, out in LA. She gave me my first reading, and the shit was just beyond crazy. But I digress. I mean, she's well reviewed and all of that. I ain't the only person. What I'm saying, I'm just fucking a crowd. I'm the base. It's a whole choir of Owani is the best tarot reader in the world. I'm not even saying shit. You just don't know. If you don't know shit, you just don't know shit. And if a person been reading tarot for 25, 30 years and your ass don't know shit about nothing, but you could buy some tarot cards from the tarot store, I can post and perp like I read tarot. And the people that don't know, they just gonna act like I can read tarot. But I'm telling you, Owani Rose Tarot, best tarot reader on the planet. But even her expertise of being the most greatest tarot reader with skin was not going to stop me from denigrating myself and belittling myself. I don't even know. I may have been denigrating myself and beating myself up for the entirety of my life. I'm probably not beating myself up as I'm having this conversation. But I definitely beat myself up before I go to sleep. Before I went to sleep. What I'm trying to say is that me denigrating and beating myself up or having a communication with myself is perpetual and ad nauseum. Is it as bad as others? Probably not. Is it the best that it can be? Absolutely not. Should I do better at my self-talk? 1,000,000,000%. So would I tell y'all anything that I would need to work on or that would y'all need to work on that I wouldn't need to work on? Fuck no, I didn't build my channel like that. I built my channel on doing things and talking about things that I'm doing. So I'm saying this for my new moon and Gemini energy, intentions and rituals. I am going to stop beating myself the fuck up. That's the only intention. That's the only ritual. Why? Because I'm going to expand and relax my amygdala and my filter, and I'm going to see more of the world around me. Because this is what I need. I'm frustrated because I can't see what I need to see when I need to see it. And I'm trusting my intuition, grateful for it. But now I'm in the spot where I'm seeing certain subtle things, and certain things is trying to communicate with me, and the bunny rabbits. I'm seeing bunny rabbits all the time, and this, that, and the third. I done got the readings. I done did this. I done did that. I'm a father. I done did a lot of things. But guess who's so hard on Kyrie? Guess who's waiting for something bad to happen to Kyrie? Kyrie. That's the craziest shit. So if you ever was just like, okay, what's the purpose of this video? What's the intention? What's the ritual? To develop a positive communication with yourself.
Ready.
Because ultimately, we're dealing with the worst enemy of all time. Like, ourselves. We done cut ourselves out and counted ourselves out and not believed in ourselves and not trusted in ourselves and not even understood our empathic abilities, and really not understanding that you got to be accountable for your friends and your relationship too. If you empathic. Now, everybody's not empathic, but some people are. And if you feel in a positive position, in a positive energy, and you're around somebody and that positivity gets wiped away, you probably are empathic. You probably need to have these types of conversations with the people close to you and seeing what can happen on an emotional, mental level. Maybe some truth, maybe some solutions, or maybe some separation. Because the absorption of negative energy is just the same way as drinking bleach. What level of love do you have to have for a person to say, okay, I'll drink bleach for you. I'll drink this bleach. Now, you might drink bleach for some people, but for a large percentage of it, you might separate from it and say, look, you're going to have to drink that bleach on your own. These are our relationships. Because you got to be so new and so gentle with yourself as you go through this psychic transformation that, okay, I may have fucked up. But the thing about chaos is that you can't turn around and say, all right, let me reverse time and let me make the mistakes that I made right. No, you can only set an intention right now, and however it looks from right now is just how it looks. This is a new beginning. This is a reset. But this reset is about how you feel and how you think and how you talk to yourself. And a lot of people do not have the capacity to begin to speak to themselves positively until they're told. And then my example with the readings is that it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen within a year. It's not going to happen within 2 years. It might take a long time to begin to be gentle with yourself. The purpose of this video is to bring your awareness to the fact that you beat yourself up. And no matter what class you take, no matter what reading you get, no matter what book you buy, no matter what exercise you do, no matter what situation you find yourself in. It's all about how you talk to yourself perpetually. And then catching that time where you're beating yourself up and redirecting that energy into saying something opposite to that, or being a pre version of it, meaning that you're already saying to yourself how you're God. You're already saying to yourself how you're goddess, and you're already predisposed to be positive to yourself beyond whatever the world got for you, right? Because we can go ad nauseum about how men ain't shit. We can go ad nauseum about how women ain't shit. It's Instagram pages, YouTube pages dedicated on how women are mean to men. Vice versa. And then there's some pages that do a little bit of both, right? As individuals, I would hope that you would get off that shit and tune in and tap into yourself and what you see in your relationship to the soul, and understand that there's a lot of psychological operations taking place that are specifically pulling you away from your soul. So a new moon in Gemini is the time to get married to your soul. So we're talking about positive vibrations, positive energy, love, life, feast, dancing, enjoyment, in reference to what you personally like. And if a person say, why are you doing that? I don't like that. Then you already know what the energy is in reference to what's your blocks. And that's what it's about, removing your blocks. Because a block is a block is a block. It could be a cute block, it could be a sexy block, it could be a hood block, but it is a block. And the thing about chaos is that it's perpetually moving forward. So if you are dealing with any type of block, it manifests as negative emotions and negative feelings. So remove whatever blocks so your spirit can move forward, so you don't have to experience that negative emotion and negative feeling. But when it comes back again, you say, it's a block. You know, because you have this relationship with yourself. The soul is chaos, is moving forward. It knows what it wants. It knows what it wants for you. But then we say, I want to be in this relationship. Then we say, I want to start this job. Then we say, I want to start this business. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And then it's a block. And then we sit and fester in that block, and then we beat ourselves up while we're in that block. And then when we free ourselves, then we're back in alignment with our soul. It may not be what you want, but it's what your soul wants, and it's going to make you happy. Moving outside of what your soul wants is going to make you unhappy. It's going to make you crazy. It's going to make you look crazy. It's going to make you feel crazy. It's going to make you shut out the world. Until you find yourself, now you're ready to share. Now you're ready to be open. Now you're looking for relationships because you're in alignment with your soul. Our partnerships, our businesses, our lives, our communities, all of these things may have been a part of our soul at a particular time. But if they ever got stagnant, then our soul would then be looking at us like, are you going to stay here? Or are you going to continue to move on? So, ask yourself that question. Do not put nobody before your soul. It's a lot of y'all in relationships with men who are not a part of your soul, and you're fucking with them. And you're dealing with them, and you're suffering because of it. Because you put a funky ass, dirty ass, draws ass, doodle streak having ass a nigga in front of your soul. Don't get on Instagram. Don't befriend people trying to get readings and talk to people, and you know you need to get rid of this dude. So, yeah. I'm laughing because it's funny, but it ain't funny because a lot of things be spiritual. But I'm going to end this video and post it to YouTube because it's Seven's birthday, and we're going to do a low maintenance new moon reading in Gemini, and hopefully y'all got the message. Hopefully y'all are able to in tune with y'all soul and be able to move forward with the energy. But peace.